Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Venus in Purva, Bhadrapada Nakshatra. And what happens when Venus is either in the sign of Aquarius, okay, or the beginning of the sign of Pisces, meaning Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra expands from 20 degrees of Aquarius to 3.20 degrees of Pisces. And when Venus is in this sector, is known as the Nakshatra of Purva Bhadrapada. So what happens when Venus is in this Nakshatra? And as always, if you do not know where your Venus is placed, what sign it's in, what Nakshatra it's in, all your other astrological details, for that check out the links here. Check my full astrological report, including my books, Astrology, Conjunction, Aspects, and Mahadashas at the Speed of Light, including all my consultations at this link. So, Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. Purva Bhadrapada is actually known as good luck, wealth, prosperity. Okay? And Purva Bhadrapada is controlled by Ekapada. I believe that's what the deity is. It's a one-footed goat. I'm sorry, Ajapatha, Aja Ekapatha. And this is a goat that has to realize its past life karmas, that has to focus towards the past life and see all the wrongdoings and then try to move forward into this life. So now we're putting Venus in this nakshatra. And Venus is a soft planet, and especially Venus represents spouse, wife in a man's chart, girlfriend, women, arts, creativity, media. But especially, this is a nakshatra, and in specifically, in this particular case, in this particular nakshatra, this one and the next one that I will do, Uttara Bhadrapada, it really denotes to more of a wife for a man. It will give clues to a female's spouse, but mainly in my particular case, because I can only tell you what I'm experiencing. In my particular case, in my research, in my especially nakshatra readings, it's really the man who feels this Venus the most. Okay, but that doesn't mean that a female will not feel this Venus. I mean, this Venus can also be you, especially Venus is the ascendant lord. If Venus is the Atmakarka, the ascendant or the planet with the highest degree, or Venus sits in your ascendant, even Venus as the Arudha Lagna will represent you. So this is a a very mysterious nakshatra. Like, for example, this nakshatra has this yin-yang polarity. Black and white, good and bad, danger and safe. Like, the best example I usually give of Purva Bhadrapada, especially Venus or Jupiter, is that think of your spouse as a lawyer in the morning. Okay, so they're doing their law work in the morning. They're advocates. They have to deal with contracts and mergers and negotiations. Okay, they're living their life. But once they come back home, they do tantric practices. They become a tantric. They want to invoke all these different energies. So you see how this yin-yang comes into play. Like, you're dating this person in the first date, second date, third date, fourth date. Like, yeah, I'm a IT professional, and I take care of these things at this consulting firm. Okay, and then on your fifth date, you said, yeah, usually on the weekend though, I go to these seances, and we try to invoke the spirits and whatnot. And you're like, oh, hold on there, buddy. What? You see how that polar comes into play, like just surprise, shock. That's what this Venus brings in this Purva Bhadrapada field. Like just this polarity of the worlds. But one thing I will definitely say is that when a man, especially has Venus in Purva Bhadrapada, most definitely through spouse, especially through spouse, your wealth and your luck and your prosperity rise to the new heights. That is, I have seen with this and other nakshatras. But the thing is, this is the nakshatra whose animal is the tiger. That means you should already know who is going to be in control in the relationship. It is going to be the spouse. It is going to be the wife. She will have this control over the house. Like, no, you do not come into my domain and disturb me. Otherwise, you are going to get, slashed from my paw. So, as much as, they are very happy-go-lucky people, they're very, outgoing people, but when you cross their territory, when you cross into their den, they will come, they will attack, they will become the fierce one. So usually, especially when I see, men with this nakshatra, with Venus in this nakshatra, I tell them, just put your hands together and go like that. Because literally, your wife is the embodiment of Durga. Kali and Durga. She's like a mix of them. And the more you appreciate your wife, the more you take care of your wife, that's where Durga's energy will start flourishing. Like in India, it's called Sheravali Mata. And many people worship her, and many people don't even realize that more than even Lakshmi and Ganesha, Durga as in Sheravali Mata gives extreme prosperity. If you ever look at a painting of Sheravali Mata, pay attention to the painting. What is there? Obviously she's sitting on a tiger. But what is she holding? What is there? Look for it in the painting and you'll get the clues. But the thing is, these people usually will always self-doubt their own beauty. They will always self-doubt their own ability. They will question like, what, I'm not worthy of doing this. I'm not worthy of having this. Am I beautiful? They will have a tendency of asking you as the husband, perhaps even as the wife, like, why do you love me? Am I beautiful? Am I good enough? And while they could be extremely gorgeous, but specifically, one thing they always are good at is athleticism and yoga. At one point in their life, yoga will become a very important part. Now, if you're 25, 28, 32, even 35 watching this, you're like, no, my wife hates yoga, my husband hates yoga, da, da, da. You haven't lived your whole life. If you haven't lived your whole life, stop it. Shh. Don't say anything. If you are 70, 60, and you're watching this and you say this, then you have the right to say that, my wife or husband never did this. One thing I realize now is that most of the story of my own nakshatras are coming alive now. More than they ever did. Some of them never even showed their, qualities and their, their power until now. Because especially when you read about the activation age, you're like, oh, okay, now it's coming alive. Okay, I see it. So this is why, especially when you're just dating somebody, don't try to just quickly jump on the comment section and say, oh yeah, that's not me, that's not her. you really have to be in your late middle age, especially for Purva Bhadrapada, to be understood. Now, obviously, depending on the Pada of the Venus, that's where more stories come out. And especially which house it's in, then you put more, ingredients onto that nakshatra, then more things come about. But this is like, especially Dr. Pai, when he told me, this is one of the most complicated nakshatras to understand. I never really understood it. I'm like, no, it's this and this. They're scholars, they're this. But no, there's like yin-yang polarity to Purva Bhadrapada. It's like, just imagine a tiger at a den sitting. Not growling, not doing anything, just looking and staring. And you do not know what's going to happen next. You don't know if this tiger is going to come up to you and attack you, go back in, or will just close their eyes and go to sleep and not care that you're there. They're just staring at you. That's it, locked in. But you can't predict anything about their move. That's what Purva Bhadrapada is. Okay? So guys, this was my small analysis of Venus and Purva Bhadrapada Nakshatra. If you're new to my channel, subscribe below. Again, if you want to know where your Venus is placed, all your astrological details, my books, reports, my consultation, my nakshatra readings, check out the links here. Otherwise, we'll see you later.